Because for each one of us, we are the center, the very center, the center point of the universe. Now, not in an abstract way, in terms of, geography and astronomy and so on, but in terms of experience at this very moment. And when you contemplate, you're experiencing from this point. You're experiencing everything right now from this point. I don't know about you, but that's what I see. So then this point of awareness, gate to the deathless, awakenedness, there is an island you cannot go beyond. So say the island is the center. You can't, wherever the shore around it, the shore that hath no shore beyond it. And so this is to recognize that this is the way it is. The reality is now, present, aware, and to investigate this, but taking out the personal distortions that we create around it. Like if I think I am the center of the universe, Ajahn Sumedho is the center of the universe, it sounds like I'm a megalomaniac. Isn't it? I'm God maybe. So that doesn't make sense in terms of, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not interpreting this moment from the self position, but from the existential reality of consciousness of this moment is like this. Existence, consciousness, awareness. And the self then arises and ceases, so if I start thinking about it or doubting it or anything, then that's always the result of thinking. So this is not a matter of thinking and analyzing and reasoning it out, but in recognizing. So in my own experience, when I talk about the sound of silence, this sound of silence then is this what is most strong in this pure awareness. If I start thinking, then I forget sound of silence, and I start worrying about the future or regretting the past, or getting caught up in my own history, my own views, my own desires and loves and hates and fears. But if I stop thinking and just rest in this awareness, so in this sound of silence and this resting in this stream of awareness is where the thinking process is no longer necessary. It's not a thought anymore. It's not something I create out of desire or ignorance. It's just an awakened, just a attentive, awakened awareness from this point. And in this point of consciousness, so I see you as, through sight, through my eyes, then you're separate. But if I don't, attach to the sensory experience, but just to the pure awareness, if I'm just resting in awareness, then that sense of separation falls away, division or duality. And then, of course, you recognize this is real. This is not some kind of personal goal that I'm on, or some kind of, condition that I'm creating, and some kind of fantasy or abstract idea, or something I'm personally believing in or promoting. Because in this point of awareness there isn't any self, non-attachment, non-suffering. So in the Four Noble Truths, then, recognizing this using suffering as the kind of skillful means of recognizing or realizing Nibbana. Because how many of you spent the day today suffering? You know, how much suffering have you experienced today? And what is it that you're attached to that makes you suffer? You know, so then we think, well, you know, I don't like this, and I don't agree with that, and I want, you know, then we get caught into the thinking process and into, you know, what we like or don't like or agree with and don't agree with, or what we want or don't want. But that's the dukkha, that's the first noble truth, wanting and not wanting. That's you know, that's where we recognize it. Today, if there's some kind of wanting, you know, that without awareness, I'm just caught in some desire, or some complaint. So today it went over to have tea with the monks and in the common room, and a monk came in and with the chocolate, and only this tiny amount of cheese. So I don't know whether the kitchen is determined to ration cheese to the monks, but anyway, it was a piddling amount of cheese. And so I started complaining. I said, what's wrong with it? They only give this, there's not enough for... And so then, as soon as I started complaining, Ajahn Vimalo comes in with Iron Evans, who's just come over from Italy, with a big slab of Parmesan cheese. So it was ironic, wasn't it? So that was really quite funny, but just to, you know, the suffering of wanting something, it wasn't, you know, one really didn't suffer about it. But the world is like this, you know, it's not going to be, you know, there's always something wrong, somebody to blame in the world. And so the world is basically dukkha. Its nature is suffering, is inadequacy, is unsatisfactoriness. That's its very nature. And the world is never going to be what we really want. So this is where the Sangha life is based on contentment with what we have, because, you know, being content and being grateful rather than always wanting more and what we have isn't good enough and we need something better all the time. If we get caught into that, then we are suffering, you know, creating suffering, and then our lives are in that realm, in the worldly realm again, the samsara. So that's why the samana life is one based on contentment and gratitude rather than on achievements, attainments, and trying to create perfect conditions in the society to make us feel okay. And this is very important to develop contentment, because in the holy life, this contentment is a very, you know, is the foundation of it. You're never going to, no matter how many years you meditate, if you don't have any contentment, it's never going to really work for you. And you see people leaving and disappointed after years of meditation and so forth because of that. You know, they've practiced diligently with with the attitude of personal attainment, achievement, getting something or getting rid of something. So after, a lifetime of trying to attain Nibbana from this sense of, of me, of this Sakkaya-ditthi or self-view, it's probably, still a nice way to live, even at it, even if it's still, even if you're still deluded by it. But the point of it is to awaken and to reflect and to realize Nibbana, reality, Dhamma. Dhamma is the reality of this moment. It's not an abstract. Now, in the reality of this moment is it's like this. Now, when I use these words, what I'm doing is I'm opening to this moment as it is, both internally and in my own body and my own consciousness, and what I experience through the senses. So this is where, this is an intuitive moment. This is intuitive intelligence. This is sati sampajanya, satipanya. It's not concentrated on anything, but you can start looking for something. So you start, reality is now, here and now, Dhamma. What is it? I don't see it. Where is it? Is it, is it my breath or? So you're trying to imagine, to find something, something to latch onto, something that you can define and say Dhamma is, this is it, rather than this act of surrender, of trust, which is merely this awareness that receives. It's receptive. It's not critical. It's not comparing or preferring or complaining or judging or thinking. So when I, training myself over the years of this sound of silence, then, the result of that is that I have very, spacious consciousness, that, in my life now. Result of that kind of practice. It's no longer like I have to try to practice or do anything. Well, I used to be, diligent in sitting so many hours a day, and that compulsion to do that's gone, because this awareness now is stronger than the tendency to believe in my own emotional habits or feelings, or be caught up in all the worldly problems. Because in monastic life, in any kind, whether it's in monasteries or in families or in cities or in mountains or on desert islands, there's always going to be something irritating, frustrating, unwanted. Because that's the way this sense realm is. It's not heavenly realm. It's a sense realm. So it includes everything, and it's about including. All conditioned phenomena is impermanent, and so there's